And a very good morning to you, Grenada, and the rest of the world. It's a Tuesday morning in the Spice Isle, and guess what? As always, just came from the balcony out there, soaking up the beauty of this place, man. Another wonderful, I guess we're into the dry season. Another wonderful morning here. Lots of sunshine, hardly a cloud in the sky. Yeah, looks like it's going to be a great day. Certainly hope for you as well. Pilgrims, this morning things are going to be maybe turned around a little bit. I got to tell you right off the bat that our good friend um, Ray is usually with us on a Tuesday morning, and probably will be. I don't know, but late last night he sent me a note saying that something unexpectedly had popped up for this morning. Apparently, there's a group of Japanese who are on island, and they're here to talk to our people about the upcoming Olympics in Tokyo. Hmm? And Ray has been called into a meeting with these folks this morning. Now, that alone indicates that he may not be with us. However, I subsequently received another note from him saying, "You know what, George? If I can sneak out of the meeting at some point, I'm going to join you by phone." Yeah, he can join us remotely wherever he is on the software that we use here, Zoom. So hopefully he will be joining us. Let's keep little pinkies crossed, okay? Now, having said that, he also sent me a follow-up article. You remember earlier on, was it earlier on this week or last week? He sent me a piece. He wrote a piece about the statement or the address made by the Minister of Education recently pertaining to the upcoming Grenada secondary school sports. Huh? He wrote an initial piece on that. Well, he has sent me another piece overnight, which is captioned, "It's the wrong approach, Madam Minister." Mm-hmm. So says Mr. Ray Roberts. I'm going to share that with you this morning. So looks like we're going to be spending a lot of time this morning dealing with this issue, cancellation of Intercol and the planned implementation of the Grenada secondary school sports. Okay? Now, that's only part of it. In addition to that, this morning, I'll tell you what. Today, actually starting right about now, government has called a meeting with all of the coaches and physical education teachers on the island. They're supposed to start at 9 o'clock. And later on this afternoon, the unions are going to be holding their important meeting as well. We'll tell you a bit about both of those meetings in just a wee bit, okay? As always, we do have the national report for you. If you keep seeing me glance off to my right here, it's because that's where I got Facebook this morning, and I see the folks are chiming in there on Facebook. So the national report. And then, as I mentioned, we're focused on this Intercol issue. I do have an opinion piece which was written by Claudette Joseph. She's the public relations officer for the National Democratic Congress. And she sent me a piece which is captioned, "Propriety and Dialogue Will Solve the Intercol Debacle." So says Claudette. So, um, you'll see whether she's right or wrong. So that essentially is your rundown, and like I said, we may or may not have our buddy Ray Roberts this morning. I certainly hope he can sneak out. It's always so good to have him here. In the meantime, though, I want you to hear the opinion piece which he sent to me just a couple of days ago. Okay? Actually, not a couple of days ago, last night. Now, it is captioned, "It's the Wrong Approach, Minister of Education." We all agree and are saddened that Scotiabank-sponsored Intercol and the Grenada Cooperative Bank primary school games, along with the almost 100 individual track and field meets organized by the various schools, will not be held in 2019. The industrial impasse between government and teachers has led to a work to rule impacting on the organizing and staging of all the games. Minister of Education Emmeline Pierre's response is that her government will stage a replacement games, ensuring that the students have the opportunity to participate in competition. It's the wrong approach, Minister Pierre. One that puts one side against the other and creates enmity. The minister would have been better advised to take a more conciliatory approach by inviting the Principals Association and the GUT to a meeting specifically to discuss the two premier events for primary and secondary schools. Also, engaging the Athletics Association to mediate would have provided a window of opportunity. If that failed, then the minister could think otherwise. But to bluntly discard the teachers is a recipe for further chaos. As it stands now, the reality is that the Teachers Union and Principals Association have a strong, united position, and I don't see how the Minister of Education can persuade them to change their minds. The impression is that the minister and government have completely dismissed the teachers' demands to return monies deducted from their salaries back in November, which is the substantial issue for the work to rule. And sadly, the minister's press conference to announce her replacement games has given new life to the GUT struggle. I cannot see how the Minister of Education and the government could win that struggle. In fact, her bold response, lacking empathy, fuels the confrontation. That's not a good tonic for better human relations, nor is it to our economic development. Yes, the minister's aggression makes her look strong in the media, but will she earn the respect of the teachers going forward? Yes, the government can stage a replacement sport, but I am sure that some children, teachers, and spectators will not, but I'm sure that some children, teachers, and spectators will participate. However, I have absolutely no doubt that the quality and the spirit of goodwill will be very minimal. Solidarity for the teachers is strong, and I predict it will manifest itself in the professional starters and track officials, and even the student athletes not dignifying the government with their support. I expect the government to use its money and resources to create hype media coverage, but that will only last for a moment. The bigger picture is the future support of teachers in a wide variety of extracurricular activities. Having been treated with disrespect, the consequences could linger for many years. Remember, teachers not only teach a class between 8 a.m. and 3 p.m. They spend time after school contributing to the education and the social upbringing of our boys and girls. Again, it would have been better for the Minister of Education to think about the bigger picture than an aggressive response demonstrating strength and power. The government's replacement game shall fail because of its political flavor. And equally important, it sends the message that the government does not need the volunteer spirit of teachers and principals. Remember West Indies cricket twice ignored their top players' protests and went ahead staging test matches with second-string teams? And the public completely ignored the games. The ruling NNP might mobilize its supporters to fill the stadium. But again, it's a losing battle. The secondary and primary school athletes shall not be starved of competition. They will compete in the Grenada Athletic Association Junior and Senior Championships, from which the Junior Carifta Games team is selected. Pilgrims, that is the text of an article sent to me by our buddy Ray Roberts last night, and I published that because I thought you needed to hear it. Now, it's 13 minutes after the hour already. I mentioned to you that there are two important meetings scheduled for today. The first one, the Ministry of Education will be holding a meeting which should have gotten started a few minutes ago at 9 o'clock for all physical education teachers and coaches, including Imani trainees, to discuss the upcoming Grenada Secondary School Games and to provide participants with an opportunity to discuss challenges and concerns experienced by phys ed and sports teachers. Okay? Now, that was supposed to get started about 14 minutes ago. Okay? Meanwhile, doesn't end there. Itchy eyes again. Meanwhile, the Public Workers Union has called an urgent meeting for 2 o'clock this afternoon to discuss matters related to the pension and gratuity issue and other important matters. They are reminding their membership of their right to freedom of association and assembly, which is enshrined in Section 11 of the Constitution, and the Grenada Labor Relations Act, which says that every employee has the right to take part in lawful trade union activities. Section 26 says that an employer or person acting on behalf of an employer who threatens an employee that he or she will suffer any disadvantage as a result of exercising these rights commits an offense. Grenada, I trust that you see where this one's going. I trust that you see. To the courts. To the courts. By the way, this morning's post-cabinet briefing will be facilitated by the Minister of Culture, Senator Norlin Cox, who will provide an update on the independence celebrations. And once again, the Minister of Education and Human Resource Development, Honorable Evelyn Peer. And guess what she's going to be doing this morning? Launching the Grenada Secondary School Games. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Enough said for the time being. Tell you what. Let me forget about the tech stuff for just a minute and say good morning to my pals, my pilgrims on Facebook. See here this morning, TF is referring to you guys as Crusaders this morning. Crusaders one time, family another. Don't remember what else he's called you. Bernard Gilbert's also saying good morning. And hey, I don't believe, hello, Ann Peters is showing up this morning. Well, a very good morning to you, Ann, and thank you so much to both you and Francis and the rest of your team taking time to chat with me a couple Saturdays ago. That went down really well. A lot of people were sort of captivated by what you guys had to say. And you know, I'm optimistic. Things eventually will turn around for you guys. I know how hard you're trying. I know the extenuating circumstances under which you operate. But there's an old proverb says that there's a light at the end of every tunnel. Another one says the longest rope has an end. Hang in there, folks. Hang in there. Veronica Sandy is saying good morning, and she says it's cold outside and wishing us a blessed day. Thank you, Veronica. We wish you the same. Sharon, hey, Sharon says good morning, Gigi and family. I do hope the dry season will not be too severe because it will mean more water cuts in St. Paul's. Girl, let me tell you, I think I mentioned sometime last week that overnight we had some very light sprinkles here. But apart from that, it's been dry. It's been dry. And you can see, you know, as you look around at the landscape out there, you can see it taking on that brownish tint. Hasn't gotten totally brown yet like it did last year, but it's getting there. Cheryl Caliste, good morning, George, from a cold Atlanta. Well, I keep telling you guys, come on home. Come on home. I know it's cold. It's winter. Hello. Lincoln Roberts is saying good morning to all the beautiful children of God. Boy, aren't we all? Aren't we? Well, a lot of us acknowledge that. There's some who don't. Such is life. But yeah, I know that you folks here are. Let me see who else is here. Fitzroy Adams. Good morning, George, and the rest of the family who are in the classroom. Yeah, I only have 1, 2, 3 chairs in here. Huh? No, it's nice to see you guys. And, well, here she is, finally, way down at the bottom of the ladder, almost at the bottom of the ladder. Margaret Margaret says that meeting the Ministry of Education called is the quintessential divide and rule tactic. There goes my favorite analyst, Margaret. You can always count on Margaret to put two and two together, huh? Thank you, Max. Peter Bishop is saying, good morning to you, George, and the rest of the class from Cole, Long Island, where it is 23 degrees Celsius. I haven't checked the temperature here. I don't think it's up to 80 yet, but just about. Dennis Clark says, government of Grenada's strategy will fail, Margaret. So somebody else out there sees things the way that Ray does. Yeah, okay. We'll wait and see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting. And by the way, last night I spoke to the leader of the Public Workers Union, Rachel Roberts. And I said to her, you know, please, I'm very anxious to know what comes out of your meeting this afternoon. And she's also promised to join us right here on Sunday morning. So it looks like we're going to have another visit from Rachel. Okay? And you know, they've got their election coming up sometime in March. And I'm sure she's going to tell you that already a couple of surprises have popped up. And I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I'll let her tell you that herself when she gets here on Friday. Dennis Clark also goes on to say here, Margaret, bullies generally end up being defeated by the ones they bullied. Yes, sir. Learned the lesson, haven't you? Huh? Thanks for pointing that out. I think Herbie Blaze, was it? Yeah, man, my good old friend, Herbert Blaze, used to say, what goes around comes around. Remember that? How could you forget? No. Donna Joseph. Hello there, Donna. Good morning, George. These ministers aren't worthy of the handle to their names of honorable. It should be despicable or dishonorable instead. They are a disgrace to this nation. You know something that always baffles me? Hey, perhaps I'm naive. You know, I'm no big brain guy, but perhaps I'm naive. It always puzzles me. Why is it that in every release the Government Information Service puts out, honorable, 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 honorable. And then I sit and I watch these honorable ministers in Parliament, knowing that you folks out there are watching and listening. And I go, oh my God. Do you know, some of them in particular, some of you, regardless, you hang in there and you continue to watch the broadcast, okay? But I have a system here which tells me what do you know about it, because every Sunday morning you hear me read the names of places where people are listening. And so the same thing happens with whichever broadcast I do, whether it's Sundays with George Grant, this one, or parliamentary sittings. And you know, I am sometimes so embarrassed when certain honorable ministers stand up to speak. You watch the graph may be going, yep. Along comes one of those honorables, and the graph goes. People stop listening to my broadcast. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. But do you dare tell any of them to shape up, your butt will be grass. It's kind of sad. Kind of sad. Anybody else here? Let's see. T.F. Richard says, George, after looking at news and now the piece by Claudette, I am of the opinion that, like the last referendum, that impasse with government and unions would end up being a clash of the legal luminaries. You know something, as I mentioned, TF, I've got it from somebody whom I believe should know. This thing is headed for the court. So yeah, clash of the legal luminaries. Seems like that's what lies up ahead. Anthony DeRiggs says, regarding the cold weather, we should be thankful in New York City. The cold weather closed schools in Chicago, where it feels like minus 51 degrees. Minus 51 degrees Fahrenheit. Ouch. Penny Crawley. Hello there, Penny. Penny says, good morning all. Lots of moisture falling here. And Penny is up there in the Laurentians, north of Montreal, Quebec. Anthony DeRiggs said, not only honorable, when they speak in Parliament, every minute is Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Anthony. That is so annoying. So annoying and unnecessary. And they don't realize how it bores the crap out of people who have to sit and listen to that. Sometimes the broadcast goes 6 hours, sometimes a day, sometimes days in a row when they're doing the budget and stuff like that. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir. Oh, shoots. Is the speaker deaf or what? He's not. Especially since they've gotten rid of the wigs. Yeah. Okay. Tell you what. 28 minutes after the hour already. Margaret Francis says, yep, George. They're saying some places will feel colder than Antarctica this week. Some places it's going to be colder than Antarctica. Cold, girl. Cold. Okay, let me take a break, and then the National Report.
Together with you, our customers, we energize our community.
Together with you, we energize our economy.
We are working together to give our nation a better tomorrow.
With you, we energize our future. Together, we energize our nation.
Thank you for partnering with us as we energize our Spice Island.
Redleg, energizing our Grenada.
Grenadian General Insurance Company, strength and stability. Grenadian General Insurance Company, tell your friends, tell your family. We cover householders comprehensive, motor and even fire too. Contractors all risk burglary, public liability, professional indemnity, directors liability, and wait, we still have more. Come and find out more what you're waiting for.
We are located on Scott Street, St. George's. For more information, call 440-2434.
Tell everybody.
Labukan Creative Center, in association with Spice Basket, presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time my man, you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent work. And woman, you acting up.
I acting up?
Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
My stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Uriah Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli Drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenadian Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under, $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music and dance, produced by Uriah Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
You know, even though I've been making fun over the past little while with you folks who are suffering those insanely cold temperatures up north, I can't help but sympathize with what I'm seeing here this morning. You know, just a minute ago, Margaret said it's going to feel colder than Antarctica. Well, look, here's a note now from Collins Silky. Collins says, yeah, Minnesota is minus 65 degrees. Now, it reminds me of the days when I used to stand on the sidewalk waiting at a bus stop for a bus in Toronto. In those days, I had a mustache. It was kind of funny to stand there and watch icicles forming on your mustache. Can you imagine that? That was cold, pilgrims. That was cold. Anyhow, here comes, it's 9:31. Here comes the GIS National Report.
Grenada and its regional security system partners keen to see urgent mediation in crisis in Venezuela. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. With the details to the news for today, Monday, January 28th, 2019, I am Rakisha St. Louis. Grenada and its regional security system have endorsed the Caribbean Community decision to seek the support of the United Nations in addressing the situation in Venezuela. An emergency meeting called by CARICOM last Thursday agreed that current Chairman Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Anthony Harris of St. Kitts and Nevis will seek an urgent meeting with the UN Secretary General, Mr. Antonio Guterres. Grenada's Foreign Affairs Minister, Honorable Peter David, was part of the CARICOM delegation which met with the UN Secretary General on Monday. A meeting of the RSS Council of Ministers in Barbados on Friday also discussed the situation in Venezuela and cited a need for regional unity on how to best address the current crisis. Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, who attended the meeting, predicts that the crisis can easily engulf the rest of the region if the current situation continues.
The bigger powers around the globe take different sides on issues in the Middle East. We've seen the result of this. The Middle East all get engulfed in serious confrontation and problems, and it affects individual countries. So we believe the Caribbean has maintained historically as a zone of peace, and that situation in Venezuela, where the U.S. and many other countries in the world have taken on one side, and China and Russia has taken another side. If that situation is allowed to prevail, and that either side is providing military or other forms of support, and without serious mediation, we can see it engulf the region, and all of us would pay a heavy price. And that's why we hope to counsel both sides.
Dr. Mitchell said serious mediation is the only way to amicably resolve the crisis. Grenada's newly appointed climate change focal points were brought together on Monday for their first orientation meeting designed to update them on this country's climate change governance structure, climate change policy, and other actions. To find solutions for climate change and its impact, the Environment Division and the Integrated Climate Change Adaptation Strategies, or ICAS, project have nominated 25 climate change focal points in various ministries, statutory bodies, and utility companies to represent a number of key sectors and focal areas. Mrs. Marina Jessamy, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, the Environment, Forestry, Fisheries, Disaster Management and Information, says as we seek to build a sustainable nation, we need to pay attention to the effects of our everyday practices.
If Grenada would experience a 1% or 2% of sea level rise, what would happen to the General Hospital, Mr. Ram? What would happen to the airport? For us in the Ministry of Climate Resilience, we have modeling that suggests that most of our key infrastructure is along the coastline, the hotels. The 73% is along the coastline. The airports, the hospitals, the sport facilities like the stadium, schools, the port. And therefore, workshops like this to really assess the impact of climate change is a must.
The primary role of the Climate Change Focal Points Network is to support the Environment Division in monitoring the implementation of area priorities, as well as to support mobilization of funds for implementation of resilience programs. Head of the Environment Division, Mrs. Aria St. Louis, says humans are contributing to greenhouse gas emissions and can have a hand in reducing them.
The debate is now over. We know that there are serious changes that are happening, and the scale at which they are happening are far different to what we have seen 1.5 to 3 million years ago. We know this because of independent lines of data related to this.
This is the National Report. More news after the break.
The pride and joy of a nation is its flag. Its colors and arrangement makes it significant and stunningly beautiful. On Wednesday, February 6th, it's National Colors Day. Every proud Grenadian is asked to deck off in clothing highlighting the colors of our flag. Whether you are dressed for work, daily routines, or casual engagements, showcase the true Grenadian spirit. Every ministry, every department, and all workplaces are encouraged to join in. National Colors Day, Wednesday, February 6, 2019. Endorsed by the National Celebrations Committee. Our people, our colors, our day. On Wednesday, February 6, National Colors Day.
Welcome back. The 50th Billfish Tournament has pumped millions of dollars into the local economy. The tournament is the Caribbean's premier sport fishing event where anglers and competitors enjoy fishing and sportsmanship. Chairman of the tournament, Richard McIntyre, said this year's event, which concluded over the weekend, was the biggest in terms of participation and revenue generation.
It's an event that has cost us a lot, but we believe in putting everything that you get one year into the next. So I think that's why we have been able to grow, you know. Take 366 anglers at $250 US. It's not anything. Our prices are shown on the brochures. You know, it's nothing that we hide because it's all put right back in, you know. So you could do the maths, 250 US, you know, 366.
A number of the experienced participants had nothing but good commendations for the tournament organizers.
This is my 7th year. And I think the skipper's must be about his 26th year. So he's been here quite a few times. We always come every year because it's always a great experience.
I've been coming to this tournament since 1987 through to 1995, a few years in between, and then from the 2000s to right up to 2019. It's been an excellent tournament, and it seems to have been getting a lot more boats. And the fish seem to be consistent every year, and we have a great time every year.
I've been fishing this tournament now for maybe 15, 16 years.
And what has the experience been?
It's always been amazing. Grenada hosts the best fishing tournament in the region. Far better than all the other tournaments. It has the most fish, it has the best facilities, and has the best resources to cater for a good tournament.
Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell has welcomed the win by the West Indies cricket team, but quickly added that the overall performance of the team cannot be judged by one game. West Indies beat England by 381 runs in the first of 3 test matches being played in the region as part of the current England tour. During an interview Monday morning, Dr. Mitchell spoke to the need for a change of overall attitude.
We have seen West Indies perform well in a particular game in the past. And therefore, as one who understands the game well, I know that you can't make a final judgment on the performance of a team by one game. And as they say in areas of intellectual activities, and maybe that's a one-off. I mean, I don't like one-off. I like to be clear that there is a permanent change in attitude. And as I said over and over, I think unless the administration changes, I'm not sure that we're going to see the kind of performance. I always believe that we have the talent in the region. I never think that we are short of talent. Maybe we would not see a Gary Sobers or a Brian Lowry emerging, but we have the talent to ensure that we can extract the maximum out of this talent. But it requires a leadership and management and governance system that promotes the interests of the players and the unity of the region as a whole. I think that's the fundamental thing that's lacking. Hope and pray that we'll see a change in that regard.
That story just brought the curtains down on the National Report for today, Monday, January 28th. Recapping the headlines. Grenada and its regional security system partners keen to see urgent mediation in crisis in Venezuela. On behalf of everyone who made this newscast possible, I am Rakisha St. Louis saying thank you for joining us. Until next time.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
With free island-wide delivery, Hubbard's Building Supplies and Lumber Departments continue to provide the best quality lumber, steel, tiles, plumbing materials, electrical and general hardware supplies at competitive prices. We continually consult with builders, homeowners and contractors to improve product range and services. Enjoy discounts where applicable, including the use of credit and debit cards. At Hubbard's Building Supplies, Grandance and Lumber Department, Caranage, we offer quality service, affordable prices, giving you the convenient, reliable, free island-wide delivery. Call 440-2087 for all your home improvement and building solutions.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Alrighty, folks, we are back. It is 15 minutes away from 10 o'clock. We've now been joined by Glenn Andrew Mark. Glenn, let's see that note signed by your mom for your being 45 minutes late. Folks, a couple of things I wanted to comment on. First of all, that Venezuelan story, boy, you know, in anticipation of the worsening crisis, people are still fleeing the country in droves. They're taking off, and most of them seem to be headed for Colombia. T.F. Richards posted something here that's very interesting. Let me share this with you. T.F. says, the Bible says, remove the beam in your eyes before removing the speck in someone else's. What is he talking about? Here the PM is speaking about mediation and so forth in Venezuela and the impact it would have on the region. Whilst we have a big local problem which is already and would continue to have a negative impact on the island financially and educationally. Who the hell is fooling who? The Jamaicans have a saying, dance a yard before you dance abroad. Word to the wise. Pilgrims. Continuing with the story pertaining to the cancellation of Intercol and the upcoming Grenada secondary school sports. Claudette Joseph sent me a story last night, which I published on the GRENADABROADCAST.com website, where you are right now. It is captioned, Propriety and Dialogue Will Solve the Intercol Debacle. Here's the text of that story. A January 18th, 2019 press release from the Grenada Association of Principals of Secondary Schools advised that as a result of the current industrial impasse between the Grenada Union of Teachers and the government, teachers are resolute in their decision to not volunteer their time towards staging the primary events and heats that lead up to Intercol. The principal's decision included input by the title sponsor. Rather than choosing to right the wrong committed against public workers and teachers by paying them their monies wrongly docked, government defiantly announced last Tuesday that they will this year be hosting a secondary schools games in place of Intercol. The NDC sees this decision and other recent maneuverings as ill-advised, and every Grenadian must strenuously denounce this action. Since the late 1940s, the Principals Association has hosted the Intercol Games, with teachers volunteering their time to make for consistent, successful events. The Games are by far the most prestigious athletics meet on the national sports calendar. It is therefore reckless for government to threaten the very future of the Games with this arrogant, high-handed decision. Many will recall in 2001 when the NNP administration injected petty politics into Carnival and permanently fractured the Calypso fraternity. The split caused between Calypsonians resulted in two largely ineffective associations, prior to which there was one united fraternity. The NNP's tactic of divide and rule helped damage the Calypso art form. Calypso tents and the Dimanche Gras show were never the same, and the artists eventually had to give up control of the groovy monarch competition. Teachers, parents, and students must stand together and ensure that the NNP does not improperly use the resources of the state to employ the same divisive tactic to inflict permanent damage on our premier athletic event. What is even worse is that rather than demonstrating that it means well by engaging in genuine dialogue, the government opted for confrontation and intimidation. At a meeting last Wednesday between principals and the Minister of Education, which the Attorney General also attended, the Attorney General is reported to have tried to convince the principals and teachers that somehow they were in dereliction of their duties under their letters of appointment and the Education Act by declining to volunteer their talent, time, and resources for this year's Intercol. Quite apart from these assertions being bogus, the NDC strongly condemns this flagrant misuse of state personnel to bully and intimidate workers. It is not the business of the Attorney General, who is the principal legal advisor to government, to render unsolicited advice to the principals and teachers. The principals of the secondary schools are among our most sober-minded and responsible citizens. The decision not to host Intercol this year would no doubt have been a painful one, and we are sure was made after much deliberation and reflection, and of course, with the interest of the children remaining paramount. It is certainly not lost on the principals and teachers that today's students are tomorrow's public workers and pensioners. Hosting the secondary school games is nothing more than the NNP administration using the current impasse to wrestle control of Intercol from the Principals Association. Clearly, they have learned nothing from their over-involvement in the ill-fated Grenada Invitational. If government is serious about the interest and well-being of our children, rather than pursuing this high-handed, confrontational approach, it would channel the resources intended to be used to host the secondary schools games to partner with the Grenada Amateur Athletic Association by providing financial and logistical support for the National Junior Championships, which attract most of the athletes from the school system. In addition to the NNP administration dealing fairly with the root cause of the current impasse by restoring pension and gratuity in the manner that they are constitutionally protected, and in so doing, delivering on their election promise. The National Democratic Congress believes that frank, sober, and constructive dialogue with the principals, rather than confrontation, is absolutely necessary. These are the only methods of resolving the impasse that will serve the best interests of the nation and our children. Okay. Let me turn back here. Oh, Mega Man Alexander has just joined us, saying good morning to you guys. Bring your note from your mom to Margaret. She's collecting the excuses this morning. Folks, you know, I'm sitting here in a bit of a quandary. I mentioned to you earlier on this morning that there would be a press conference, well, the weekly press cabinet briefing this morning from the Botanical Gardens, okay? And that is going to be hosted. Let me see here, just make sure I get it all right, all right. Hold on a sec here, just bear with me. Yes. This morning's post-cabinet briefing will be facilitated by the Minister for Culture, Senator Nolan Cox, who will provide an update on the independence celebrations. And he's not going to be alone. He's going to be joined by Minister of Education and Human Resource Development, Emmeline Peer. That's the lady who just 1 week ago sparked such a fallout by the statement she made about cancellation of Intercol and the introduction of the Grenada Secondary School sports. And I'm sitting here this morning, by the way, she is supposed to be launching, it says here, I didn't make this up, she's hosting this to launch the Grenada Secondary Schools games, okay? And I thought, I'm hoping that they'll be on time. How about if you guys stick around a little bit? Can you stick around a little bit? I want you to see this because, you know, in light of the fallout from her statements last week, I imagine that a lot of people are going to be very curious about what she has to say this week, okay? The thing that has me in a bit of a quandary is that she is listed as the second person to speak here, whereas the first person is going to be Senator Nolan Cox. So it may be a little while before they get to Minister Peer. Okay? I don't know how things are going to work, but I'll tell you what, I'm just going to try and bring that to you. How about if I share that with you this morning? Huh? I will share that with you this morning. But first, just to give them some time to set up, the GIS is notoriously late. Up to the last time I carried their post-cabinet briefings, they were notoriously late in getting started. I don't know if there has been any improvement because it's been, my God, since about April or so, I haven't carried their stuff. But I'm hoping that they will be on time this morning so that I can bring this to you. In the meantime, let me get set up here while you listen to some really nice stuff.
Hey, Lynn.
Hey, neighbor.
Here's the bill I asked you to pay for me.
How did you get your electricity bill to be so low?
For one, we size our transformers just for what we need. And we unplug transformers, chargers, and other devices when they're not in use. We also replaced our light bulbs with LEDs.
They burn less energy, right?
Much less. I even replaced the seal on my refrigerator door to keep the cold air in.
And Grenlec is always advising us not to open the fridge too often.
That's right. And my family washes and irons in bulk.
With fuel prices changing all the time, how do you know if it is working?
We pay attention to the usage history table. Over time, our average usage has decreased.
So while Grenada can't control fuel prices, I can conserve energy and save money.
GRENADA, energizing our Grenada.
Labukan Creative Center in association with Spice Basket presents Mayhem in Paradise.
All the time you complaining I never had a steady job. Now I get an opportunity to get a permanent one. And woman, you acting up.
I acting up?
Yes, and you know why I didn't tell you, man? It's because of your stupid attitude, man.
My stupid attitude?
Yes.
You come this early morning pulling cutlass at me, right?
It's a play by Francis Urias Peters, together with a nostalgic folk musical journey, plus the Tivoli Drummers at Spice Basket, Wednesday, February 6th. Tickets from Grenadian Optical and Kittens Drug Mart at $40 each. Children 12 and under, $25 at the door. It's a special independence production of drama, folk music, and dance, produced by Urias Peters, Wednesday, February 6th at Spice Basket, 8:30 p.m.
Juve chocolates, cocoa nibs, and cocoa balls from Diamond Estate Grenada are now available at Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, and GrenadaMarket.com. Try their sensational touch of nutmeg and a touch of ginger chocolates, 75% dark and rich, 100% pure cocoa, and their 60% dark and sweet chocolate bars today. Amazon Prime members enjoy free shipping on these orders in the USA, Canada, and Europe. GrenadaMarket.com. When you can't come to the island, the products of the island will come to you.
I'm always on the move. Training, traveling, competing.
A commemorative postage stamp.
So it's good to know I have Co-op Bank in the palm of my hand.
Introducing e-banking, one of many customer convenience services from Grenada Cooperative Bank, and there's more to come.
It's swift, simple, and secure.
Welcome home.
Why is George playing, 6 commercials in a row? Yo matter what. No, I don't normally do that, folks. It's a habit which I detest, okay? But I've been trying to kill some time. I'm monitoring the GIS here, hoping that today's post-cabinet briefing would be on time. It's now 5 minutes after 10 o'clock, and no sign that it started yet. Actually, there's something else going on, and just in case you don't believe me, let you take a look. I'm not sure what this is, but that's what's on the GIS right now. And while I'm very, very anxious to let you see what goes on this morning, you just never know when they're going to start. I mean, I've seen post-cabinet briefings start 20 minutes, half an hour late, you know. So I don't want to keep you in suspense. So if they come up before I say goodbye, then we'll bring that to you. If not, sorry. Parting word from the Holy Scriptures, your daily dose of inspiration comes to you today from the book of Matthew, Matthew chapter 6, 25 to 34. Therefore, I tell you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat or drink, or about your body, what you will wear. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothes? Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow or reap or stow away in barns, and yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than they are? Can any one of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? And why do you worry about clothes? See how the flowers of the field grow. They do not labor or spin. Yet, I'll tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like one of these. If that is how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow is thrown into the fire, will he not much more clothe you, you of little faith? So do not worry, saying, what shall we eat? What shall we drink? What shall we wear? For the pagans run after all these things, and your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Make a note of it. Matthew 6:25 to 34. And folks, taking a look back here at the GIS, I now see Mr. Troy Garvey speaking here. There you go. So, looks like there ain't going to be a post-cabinet briefing. Or, it's late. I don't know. However, Georgie Porgy's going to say thank you, my friends, for being so patient and spending your time with me this morning. You know I always love having you around. Tomorrow morning, we expect to see Sharon on the program. And then on Thursday, Alan, yeah, man, it's going to be fun. Georgie Porgy sending God's blessings your way. And by his grace, I shall see thee again tomorrow.